If you'd like to make a Plants vs Zombies spawner model similar to the one in the video and learn how to make all the parts and put it together, keep watching and I'll show you exactly how to do it. Welcome to Roblox Snippets. Alright, so this is a bit of a big video and for that reason I'm breaking it into parts that you can skip through if you wish. The first part will be creating the parts and models that we'll use in the game, just simple, nothing too complex. The second part we will create a simple zombie walk animation and then get it to play when the zombies spawn, and then in the final part of it I'll show you how to get them to spawn, and we'll add any other scripts and things that we need to make it all work. Now this will be completely customizable. You make it bigger, smaller, and have zombies walk faster, all that sort of thing. However, I just advise you to follow along and get a working copy of what I'm going to show you. Save that, and then save a second copy that you can go in and make all your changes to. That way you've got something that works. So when you're ready, we will get started. Alright, parts and models. So we don't need a great deal, but we're going to create a couple of parts just in front of our spawn point here. So come up to the Home tab, and we're going to create a part, just a standard square part to begin with, and I'll hit F just to come in on it. Alright, we'll change the name of this part to be base. So just the word base, and this is going to be the platform that we will have our lanes come down. So you can change the color of this to whatever suits you. So just pick something that I might pick, say, a reddy brown sort of color, and we can come down and choose. So it's like the ground. You could make it grass like I've got in the background here, but I'll make mine perhaps a brick, and that's all good to go. Now we want to come down and change so that the part is anchored on the ground and it's not going to move around, and we're going to change the size of this, and we're going to make this 30 by 0.5 by 30. Right, and can move this out a little bit away from us so that we can see it out in front of us. Right, so this is like the platform where everything is going to happen, and we're going to get the zombies to spawn on. Now that I'm looking at that brick, it's not really looking very nice to me, so I might change it to, say, cobblestone. That's better. Alright, as I said, customizable. You can come back and play with these in the future. Now everything that we make here we're going to put inside of a model. So on the base part, if it's highlighted like this, right click on it and then come up and you'll find group as model. So left click on that and you'll now see this model tab, and if you expand it, the base is underneath. Click on the model name though, and we can call this our zombie spawn model, or you could just call it game model if you wish. Now having it inside of a model is very good for moving the entire thing wherever it is you want to move it to. You can also save the entire model with all the scripts and everything in it, and then put it into another project. So it's lots of good reasons to put it inside of a model. Alright, now there's two other parts that we really need to make. So if we come up to our workspace, we're going to add another square part in here, and I'll just hit F on my keyboard to focus in on it. This one we're going to call point 1. And I'd like you to make this, now we're not actually going to see these parts in the end, however make this one say one color, say a blue or something like that, and then I'd like you to come down and turn off can collide so that things can't run into this, and we're going to turn on anchored, so it'll stay where it is, but the zombies and players won't be able to run into it. And we're going to come back up the top here, and we'll make this the size of these. We don't need them to be very big, so I think we'll stick with 2 by 0.5 by 2, so it's like a tile. Alright, and we've got this one here called point. So right click on that once you have it and duplicate it, and then move it over to the left or right, and we're going to change the name of this one to be goal 1. and change its color to something else. So I'll just pick red. So we should have a 0.1 part that's one color and a goal that is another color. Alright, so the points part, this is where the zombies are going to spawn from, and the goal part obviously is the part that they're going to walk to. So we'll start off with, I might put the zombie goal sort of towards the other end. We'll position it correctly shortly, and we'll start with the point here, and let's move it over to one side, so perhaps over to the left, just sort of so it's in a little bit, and you can play with these a little bit later. And we're going to make, this is 30 wide, and we're going to have 5 lanes. Okay, so we're going to copy this now and move them across to create, altogether we'll have 5 points. So right click on point 1 and duplicate. And before we move it, come up to model so that we move them exactly the same amount. And we will move them across, say, 5 studs at a time. And then drag that one across here. And then you can hit Command or Control D to duplicate once again. Alright, and then drag it, whoops, sorry. So Command or Control D is not working for me, so I'll just right click and duplicate, and we'll drag that one across and then move across, duplicate once again, and drag across, and one more time to get this like this. Alright, so if we move back a little bit, we should have, whoops, there we go, let's put that there and click. So we've got these 5 points here. Now to keep them all together, we'll, in the zombie model, if we left click on that, click on the plus and then start typing folder in the search bar, and once you have that up, click on it to add a folder, and we'll change the name of the folder to be spawn points. And we're going to now select all the ones that say 0.1 and add them into the spawn points. So if you click on one and then hold down Command or Control and then left click on the others till they are all selected, we can move them up into the spawn points folder like such. Now we want these to be in order, so to select, when you have a collection of things like this and you want to click on one and it's difficult, you can hold down the Option key on your keyboard, move your mouse over the top and then click on that part, and it should pick something out of a model specific to what you want to click on. So obviously this is 0.1, and then this one we want to change its name to be 0.2. Alright, so and then do the same for the next one. So next one along, 0.3 and 0.4, and the last one we will change to be 0.5. And then if we hold down Shift to select them all, perhaps turn off this move here, just move them over so that they're sort of evenly spaced from the edges, and that should be pretty good. Now I did say to make this point, this one up here for the goals. However, since we've already done all of this work here, how about we simply right click on these all highlighted and copy, and then come up into the workspace and we will paste. Okay, and now we'll slide those down to the other end. And now all we need to do really, we can delete the goal part that I said before, and we'll change the name now, instead of 0.1 to be goal 1, and go through and change each of these others as well. So goal, goal, and number 4, and number 5. And if we select them all again by holding down Shift, so we highlight them, we can come down and change their color to be red. There it is. I'll just focus down to that end. Now we will make another folder in here. So come up to your spawn model and click on the plus, and we'll create a folder. And this one we'll simply call it goals. And we want to drag all of those goal parts. So click on the first one, hold down shift and click, and drag them into the goals folder. Alright, so if I swing around now and just zoom in a little bit, we probably just want to move that down so it's sitting on the base, and they should be perfectly aligned with the others at the other end now that we've done that, so we shouldn't need to move them at all. Now just keep in mind that if you want to move them or position them in a better way, then goal 1, obviously down here, should line up with point 1 down the other end, because the zombie is going to walk from here or spawn here and then walk to this point. So if you move this over here, it's going to walk across the map, which might be what you want, but to keep them in straight lines, this is how we will go. Alright, so that is all of the parts apart from the actual model that we're going to use to create the zombie, and we will do that in the next part of the video where we'll create an animation for it as well. So I'll do that next. Before you do that though, just save your project and we're good to move on. Okay, we're going to create a simple zombie and walk animation for that zombie. So we don't need our game model, so if we just move over to the left or right of wherever you're working and come up to the top to avatar, and we're going to insert a rig. So come over to rig builder, left click on it, and I'm going to close my output window, and we won't need the explorer or properties window here either. Right, so make sure you use an R15. You can choose male or female. You can put your own avatar in if you wish as a zombie. However, I'm going to pick the Mesh Avatar 2016 and click on whichever one you want and insert it into the workspace. Then hit F on your keyboard to zoom in on it, and then if you hold down your right mouse button and drag from left to right, you can pan around your model. Okay, now we want it to be so that your avatar is facing to the right of the screen. Alright, so we're looking at his right side or her right side, and once you have it looking like that, if you are still clicked on avatar at the top, come over and click on animation editor. Now this is not a specific video on animation, so I'm going to not go into every detail, but if you follow along and you've never done animation before, then everything should work nicely. I do have other videos on my channel if you want to subscribe and check those videos out on animation. They go into a lot more detail. So when you do click on animation editor, down the bottom it says select a rig to animate. So move your mouse over the avatar in the workspace and you'll see this blue box. When you see that, left click and it'll ask you to name your animation. So type something in here. I'm going to call mine video zombie walk animation. Alright, it's a very long name. You don't have to do that. Just zombie walk or something like that would be good. When you're done, click on create, and you should see these white lines appear underneath your avatar. This timeline down the bottom here where we'll put our keyframes, and some other things over here that we'll be making use of. So over to the left, you'll see these three little dots. I'd like you to click on that, and you'll get a menu come up like this, and just come up and click on save for now. So as you're working on your animation, you can just click on save, and if you ever have to leave and come back, then you can load it up and take off from wherever you were up to. Now just below these three dots, you'll find this IK button. So left click on IK, which will bring up another window, and another bigger button here, enable IK. So left click on that one. Now as I'm speaking at the moment, if I right or left click on the upper leg, this rotate tool comes up here. Now if you click on one of these and you don't see a tool come up here, Roblox has a workaround at the moment that may work for you. They're having a bit of problems with this. If you click on view and bring up your Explorer window and properties, click on the workspace and scroll down till you find this property called signal behavior, and change it to be default instead of deferred or ancestor deferred, and then give it another go. You may need to restart Studio, and I apologise if it doesn't work for you. You may just need to wait till they fix that bug. However, now that we have this, and I assume everyone's is working, we can make a quick animation for a zombie walk. So that everyone's looks the same, go ahead and click on the right upper leg up here, and then come up to the Model tab, and we're going to change the rotate value here to be, let's say, 45 degrees. Okay, so when you do that and it's ticked over on rotate, this red handle here, if you move the hand over so that it's lit up, left click and hold that and drag it down till it moves out in front of your avatar. Alright, and that is all you need to do with that leg. Then come down to the left upper leg, and we're going to move that one back just one click down, so it's 45 degrees. Alright, one leg forward, one leg back. Now we want to have our arms, they're going to be not a natural walk because it's a zombie. So we'll come to the left upper arm, and I want you to move that down so that it moves down 90. Okay, and we'll also put the right upper arm, we'll move it forward 90. So basically they'll just have their arms out in front of them the whole time. It's a very simple walk that we're doing. Then left click, hold your right mouse button down and rotate around so we're looking at our model from the front. And what we're going to do is take the upper torso, and we're going to rotate our upper torso, however not 45 degrees. Let's say we go 20 degrees, so change this to 20, and it'll be the blue handle here, and just move or rotate it over to the left like such. Alright, just one. And even that may be too much. So if you make a mistake like this, you can use Command or Control Z to undo your last action, and we might change this to say 10, and you can do whatever you like. However, I'll just move mine a little bit and just move to the left like this. Alright, so that's our first pose, and you can see that it's created a keyframe down the bottom of everything that we've moved. So now what we're going to do is I'd like you to click over where it on the big line next to 015 here, so the scrubber bar appears there. And now we're going to, if we scroll back around this way, do everything in reverse. So basically we're going to come up to the right upper leg now, change our rotate amount up the top here to be 45 again, and we want to move it so back one will be straight, and then back again it should say 90, and his right leg will be behind him. Then we'll do the same with the left upper leg, only we're going to move it the other way. So grab the red handle, move it down 45, and then out to 90. Not going to exactly 90, but that's pretty close. Alright, and then we'll rotate around in front here again. Now remember I changed mine 10, so if I put in 10 here and rotate him the blue, oh whoops, I'm moving the wrong part, I'll undo. We come to the upper torso, and 10 will bring him straight, and then we're going to rotate him 10 the other way. Right? So those are the two poses. Now if we come back to the beginning, and we now down in this scrubber or timeline area, click on the keyframe itself so that they all go blue, and then right click and copy selected, and then come up to the very end where move the scrubber so that it's on the 1 second area, and then right click down here and paste keyframes. So when you have that, if we go back to the beginning now, we should be able to come over here, and this is where we can play. Alright, and it played through once. If you want to see it loop over to the end here, click on looping animation and it'll go blue, then click on play or spacebar, and you should see your basic zombie animation. So I think that looks pretty good. You know, you could obviously play around with that and get it looking better. Now, because we're going to make our zombies spawn, we'll just have this looping on constantly. So when the zombie spawns in, we'll get the animation to play and it will just continually loop. So we just need to come down the bottom here and click on these three dots again. Firstly, click on Save, and then click on the three dots once again. And you'll see this down the bottom here, Set Animation Priority. Now, normally walks and things are movement based. However, because we're going to make it like an idle that will loop over and over again, only we're going to move the avatar forward with code. So go ahead and click on idle, so that that's the priority. And then on the three dots once again, we will optimize our keyframes. So left click on that. It'll come up with a window like this, and just click on OK. And basically it just removes any keyframes out of here that are unnecessary, so that it makes everything run a little bit better. And back to the three dots one more time, and you will see Publish to Roblox. So click on Publish to Roblox, and you should see a window such as this. Now, mine does this funny thing where I need to just resize the window slightly from the corner, and we get this pop up here. So give it a title if you want it to change its name, and a description if you wish. Alright, and when you're happy with whatever is there, you can come down the bottom and click on Submit. And you should get this confirmation window now that says Successfully Submitted, and right above it is this ID. So there's a little thing that looks like pages at the end there. Left click on that and you should see ID copied. Right, and when you see that, come down and click on Close. And now that we're finished with Animation Editor in Studio here, so we can come up to the Avatar plugin and left click to close everything there. And over to the View tab and open up Explorer and Properties window. And inside of our rig now, if we expand our rig out, we're going to add an animation object to the rig. So left click on the rig name so that it's blue, and then the plus next to it, and in the search object box start typing animate, and you'll see this animation object pop up here. Okay, it looks like little balls next to it. Left click on it to add it into the rig, and you'll have to scroll down to the bottom to find it, and it'll be here. So when you left click on it, look in its properties and you'll find animation ID box with an empty space. Left click in that empty space, and then we can right click and paste the ID number that we just got. And if you hit enter, it will format it correctly. Alright, so just before we move on, in case you didn't copy it or you copy and pasted something else, the other way to find your animation ID is to come up to the Home tab, click on Toolbox, which will bring this window up, and you have these tabs along the top. Click on Inventory, which is your things that you have created, and then on the drop down over to the left, and you should now find, if you don't have any other animations, My Animations. Left click on that, and the very most recent one that you've just created should be in the top left hand corner. You can either right click on this and simply copy the asset ID, that's the quickest way to grab it, and then you can paste it in like we did over here. Okay, so I'll just close that, we don't need to do that. So now we have this in here, we'll rename the object up here to be Zombie Walk Anim. So we've added that animation object into our rig, and if you'd like you can change the rig name up the top here to be Zombie, and that appears above the avatar's head up here. And now we're going to write a little bit of code in order to get that animation to run when we hit play. Alright, we'll write a script for our zombie so that we'll get the animation playing and looping for us. So if you click on the zombie and then next to it click on the plus, and we're going to add a script in here. Now Roblox Studio, I'm not sure if the problem still exists, but it has a trouble looping sometimes when you use a script like this. So we're going to make a bit of a change to the script properties themselves just to make sure everything works properly. So click on the script itself over under the zombie, and then come down to its properties underneath till you find this property called Run Context, and next to it it'll say Legacy. And we want to change in that drop down so that it says client. So effectively what that does is we're running a script, a server script, but we're making it behave like a client. So that's very handy. And we will change the name of the script then to be zombie anim script. So we know what that one is, and we can get rid of our hello world in here and add a little bit of code. Alright, so the first thing that we want to get a hold of is, remember we put in down the bottom here, this zombie animation, or walk animation. So we'll create a variable called walk anim, and it will be equal to script.parent, and then we're looking for the name that we called it down the bottom. So zombie walk anim, not the script, but the actual object anim here. And I'll just get rid of these windows now so you can see. So this is our animation object with the number that we put in there. Now we'll need the zombie's humanoid, so we'll create a variable for that, hum, and it will be script.parent.humanoid. And now we'll create a track for the animation. So a local anim track will equal humanoid load animation, so colon with a load animation, and add in the walk animation. And right below this we'll put in anim track with a colon and play. Now we'll give this a test, and before we test we'll just come up to view and over and turn on the output window down the bottom here to see if we get any errors. But go ahead now and click on the play button, we'll see how it works. Alright, so I'm all loaded in here, and if we run over and have a look, you'll see that our zombie animation should be playing away nicely at the moment. Alright, so that's our basic zombie that we're going to use and spawn, and we'll make that move in the next section. And we've got a couple of other things to do to make everything work correctly. So if you're up to that stage, then give your project a save, and we will move on to the last section of the video. Okay, so now we're going to create the script that will spawn our zombies into the workspace, and we probably need to create at least one other script to fix a couple of things that I'll talk about a bit later. However, we can close our animation script, we know that that's working, and open up, click on View, Explorer and Properties, and we're going to move our zombie that's in the workspace at the moment. So left click on the zombie itself, then right click on it and come up and choose Cut. We're going to remove it out of the workspace, and we're going to come down to Server Storage. If you see these anim saves and things in there, don't worry too much about that. Left click on Server Storage, then right click and paste into. So this is going to be our master zombie, and we're going to create a script that will clone this and spawn based on this in here, keeping in mind that each zombie will have its own animation script, so it will animate itself when it's added to the workspace. So we'll do this from the server script service. So left click on it and then click on the plus next to it, and we're going to choose script, and we can change the name of that script to be zombie spawner script, so we know what it is, and get rid of our hello world so we can begin. Now there's a couple of things that we need to get a hold of or create up here. So if we expand our zombie spawn model, you'll see that we have goals and spawn points. So we're going to need to create variables for these for a start. So over in your script we'll say local, and we'll just call them points for short, will equal game.workspace, and then we are going into our zombie spawn model, and then we're looking for the spawn points folder, so .spawn points folder, and when we get to that point we want to add a colon and get children. Alright, so you'll see that there. Now if you haven't done this before, it means that it's going to gather all of these in here, and we'll turn this variable we just created into a table of these points that we can then work with. Right, so now I've got that and explained this, I'll just close these so you can see the lines, and I might just make my code a little bit smaller so it stays on the screen. Right, now we'll do the same thing for the goals. So local goals, so this will be the points that the zombies will walk to, and it will be game.workspace.zombiemodel.goals, and we also want to get children. So we have these two tables. Now when the zombies reach the spawn point, I'll just show you here, and if we have a look at our model, alright, so I forget which one's which, but say the zombie spawns here and moves down here. When they hit the goal at the end, and keep in mind that normally you would have a gun or a plant down here that would be trying to destroy the zombies, and if they got to this goal at the end, then the game's over or the level's over. However, because we're just making an example here for you to work with, when they get to the goal at the end, we will use the debris system that will clean up the zombies that reach the goals at the end. So for that reason, we're going to use the debris service. So local debris will equal game get service, and it is simply debris, not service at the end. And I'll show you how to use that very shortly. Next, we want to get access to the server storage. So we're doing that. You don't have to open this up, but over here, remember server storage, and that's where we put our zombies. So we need to get access to that service. So local, and we can just say ss game get service and server storage. Whoops, server storage. And once we have server storage there, we'll get our master zombie from that. So local zombie master will be ss, so server storage, and then we will wait for child and inverted commas and choose zombie, and that will get us the main zombie that we can make copies from. And we'll add one other variable here that I created, and this is time between zombies. And let's say we set it to 2 for now. So this will be the amount of time between when we spawn one zombie and the next one, to allow the first one to move before we sort of spawn the next one. Alright, they are all of the variables that we need to create at the moment. Now we'll create a function just down below this, so a local function, and this will be our spawn zombie function. Okay, now all of the code will go in here that will code and position our zombies, etc. However, just below this, to be calling this over and over again, we'll simply add in a while loop. So while task.wait, and we're going to use the time between zombies number that we put up the top there. So at the moment it's 2. Do. And inside of here, now instead of just calling this, we're actually going to spawn this function over and over, because inside of it, it's got animation things, and it tends to not work correctly unless we spawn the function. So the way you do that is to say task.spawn, type in function with some parentheses, and then just move outside and hit enter. And then inside of here, we can simply type in spawn zombie to have this run. So effectively, we set our time between zombies of 2. Every 2 seconds, it's going to spawn its own separate thread that will run the code inside of here. So I'll just get rid of that. Alright, so now we'll get to spawning the actual zombies, and we'll create a variable for the one that we're going to spawn. We'll call it zombie, and it will be equal to the zombie master up the top with a colon and then clone. So that will create a copy of the master, and we will parent this Now, if you want to keep track of how many zombies there are, etc., then it's probably best that we'll open up Explorer over here, and in the workspace, let's say we'll click here. Actually, we'll put it inside of the model and click on plus, and we'll create a folder here. So start typing folder and add it in, and then we'll change the name of the folder to be all zombies. And we're going to parent each zombie into this folder. That way we can keep track of how many there are, and they're all inside of this folder at any time should you want to do anything else with them. So over in our code now, we can say zombie.parent will equal game.workspace.zombie spawn model.all zombies. Alright, and that will place it inside of this folder. Okay, now that we have this zombie and it's going into the workspace, it'll run the animation. However, we now want to let it start to move, or create some code that will move it. So we'll need its humanoid, so we can say local humanoid will equal zombie.humanoid, and then we'll want the humanoid root part of the zombie. Okay, that's what we will use primarily to make it move. So HRP will be zombie.humanoid root part, and we're going to set a random walk speed for each zombie. So some might be a little bit quicker than others, and the way we'll do that is to say humanoid.walk speed will equal math.random, and we'll just say 1 to 4 for now. So some will move slightly faster than others. You could create more variables up here if you like, such as walk speed minimum and maximum, and put them in here so you can change that easily. But this is where you change the speed of your zombies. Alright, so I'll even put how fast the zombie moves. Okay, so add that comment in there in case you need to remember. Right, next we're going to now, if we have a look at I'll just bring up my Explorer window there again. In the goals here, we're now, or out of these spawn points, we're going to pick a random point. So we want to pick one of these randomly where the zombie will spawn, and then they will move to the corresponding goal across from it. Okay, so that's what this line will be all about. So local rand spawn will equal math.random, and we want to go from 1 up to, and you can use hashtag points. So hashtag will count how many items there are inside of this table as the maximum. So in case you add more or less, then instead of having a number hard coded in here, it will just simply count them for us, and it won't break your code. Now we've got enough to actually make the zombie move, so we use the humanoid root part .cframe and equals. Now what we're going to do is we're going to say, look in the points table up here with a set of square brackets. So we're looking in these spawn points, and each one will have an index number. So at the moment we have 5 points, so there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want to use this number as the index number. So we simply type rand spawn inside of here to get that random number. Once we have that point, we want its cframe and plus vector3.new, and we will say 0, 3, 0. So this will move the zombie in the workspace above this particular spawn point, the random one, and it will add 3 studs above it to make sure that it's above it and not sitting down below or halfway into the base plate. Right, now that we have that ready to go, the zombie is positioned. Okay, remember this, so far we have spawned and positioned the zombie onto the random point. Now we will say task.wait of, let's say 1 second. We're just going to make the zombie stand there just for a second before it starts moving, and then we're going to add a repeat and hit enter, and down after the until just put a space and type humanoid dot move, oops, it has to be move to finished, like that, with a colon and wait. So we're going to repeat the code inside of here over and over until the humanoid has actually reached where we have told it to go, and when it gets there it'll just wait there. Okay, so that's what that does. And we can say humanoid move to finished, move to, and inside of these brackets we're going to use the same random spawn that we did up above here. So this number, remember this is the same index number, only we're not going to look in points, we're going to look in goals. So we say goals, looking in the goals table with a set of square brackets, and then random spawn, and we're looking to move it to the position. So we just move outside, put a dot and type position, and that will move. Now once this little loop is run, which means the zombie has actually got to the goal, it will finish the loop, and at that point this is where we want to delete our zombie out of the workspace. So we can use the debris system, so debris and then a colon and add item, and you'll see up here in the helper text what is the item that you want to add, and the one that we want is the zombie, and then add a comma and lifetime. So after how much time is it that you want the zombie to disappear, and we'll simply put in there 1 second, and then it will be removed or cleaned up for us. Right, now that should be enough to get everything working. So before we test, however, come up and turn on your output window to check if you have any errors. Give it your project a save, and then let's play and see what happens. Alright, so I'm loaded in, and you can see that a couple of zombies have spawned in. However, they are not moving. They are spawning on top of one another. So let's stop that there, and we'll just do a quick check. I'm pretty sure I know why they're not moving. Alright, so if yours are doing the same thing as mine, where they're just standing still, then the reason for that I'll show you. If you open up Explorer, and we want to come down to server storage, I'll open up properties here as well. So server storage, find your zombie under server storage and expand the zombie, and come down and find the humanoid root part. So left click on it, and then scroll down through its properties, and you'll find anchored. Uncheck anchored on the humanoid root part. Alright, and we'll give it another save, and then let's give it another run. Alright, this time you should now see that your zombies should be spawning at random points across the map. So, and after a second or so they start to move towards the goal on the other side, and when they hit that goal, the debris system takes over and says, okay, you want to get rid of that zombie. Now here's a problem that we're going to fix with a short script in a minute. See how this zombie is moving faster than this one, and it's just running into the back of him and trying to push through. So we're going to write a script that will stop zombies colliding with one another, and we will also, you may notice that if these goals and points have can collide on, they may fall over. They should correct themselves and continue to walk. However, the goals and the points, see this one just fell over, but if you watch, he will jump back up and he will continue to move to the point that he was asked to move to. So let's stop the project there, and we'll now just come up to our zombie up here again, and we're going to add another script in here that not only will stop them colliding, but we'll change the color of our zombies as well. So left click on the zombie itself in server storage, that's where we are, and click on the plus, and we'll add in a script. So this one will stop zombies colliding. We'll get rid of the hello world inside of here, and we'll write a quick script for this. So local zombie will equal script.parent, and now what we're going to do is we're going to get everything that is inside of the zombie, and then check to see which parts we might want to change or set to can collide. So we'll say local all parts will be equal to zombie and then a colon and get descendants. Okay, now if you use get children, it will only get say the head part over here or the left foot, but not the things that might be underneath it. Get descendants gets every single item, even if it's got things underneath it. Okay, so that's what we're using, get descendants. And then we use, so now we'll loop through all of these parts that we've collected using a for loop. So we'll say for underscore, which is however many parts there are in there, each part in pairs, and all parts, and outside do. And we'll create a conditional statement now to check if each one is a base part where we can turn off can collide or change its brick color. So if each part and then a colon is a set of inverted commas base part, outside we add then, and now we can write some code depending on what we want to do. So each part dot can collide, we're going to set that to false so that the zombies can't run into one another, and each part dot brick color will set to brick color dot new, and sea green should give us a nice zombie color. Now from testing, I have discovered that because each zombie is running this code when it gets loaded into the workspace, sometimes it's not completely loaded in, or all the parts aren't completely loaded in before this code runs, and so it causes some problems. So just above here, our for loop, we're going to add a task.wait and put in about 0.3 of a second. Now there'll be a slight delay you might see for changing color, and you may need to increase this. It sort of depends on how fast the game is processing as to how well these things work. So you have to make some sort of allowances sometimes. However, let's give this a run and we'll see how it works. Right, I'm all loaded in and my zombies are starting to spawn over here, and you may have just caught there that zombie moved very quickly and ran straight through the other zombie. And they are all moving, and this one's going to go through the other one, and that's all moving nicely. Now, of course, you'll see that the zombie didn't change color at the start, which is probably a little bit annoying. However, to rectify that, rather than changing the color in the script, you could simply go into your master zombie in server storage, change all of its base part colors yourself by just highlighting them all and setting them to sea green, and you wouldn't need that. Oh, one just fell off the face of the map there. I'm not sure why he fell through the map. However, everything seems to be working, and I hope you get a lot out of that. I'm pretty sure you can come up with some ideas on how to use this, maybe not with zombies but other enemies, and I may do a follow-up video that will deal with shooting the zombies, doing damage similar to what a Plants vs Zombies game might be. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos. If you found this video useful, subscribe now. For more information about my online courses, go to mrbrendanross.com.